a bit less noisy around the back here, except for the wind. This is, I believe, a volunteer plant from, I think, the horse manure. There's a few other ones around the garden here as well. We have the green grape, which is doing alright. I bent this bit of wire up and over the fence to hopefully sort of train it up there. We've got self-sown potato, the only sort of potato that I tend to get in the garden. Tomato, with the first sign of the actual fruit forming, which is good. And here I have my lettuce, which actually looks like I've done it as it should be done, because generally I sort of plant things out in a bit sort of higgledy-piggledy, but because I started these in the greenhouse, I was able to actually plant them out in a bit more of an organised fashion. Again, that is a self-sown. These are self-sown as well. I'm not entirely sure what they are, but I'm not super fussed. They can grow and fill the space. At the very least, they'll end up being a bit of compost later. Here we can actually get in and see. There's a bit of the seeds that they're from. This is a self-sown nectarine, I think. I'm a big stone fruit fan, so we've got plenty of seed things for them to continue on. This is another dwarf sunflower, like the ones I've got around the front. I had a few more that were sort of growing, so I figured I might as well plant those out. Again, another tomato. This tomato refuses to stay up. Yeah, probably actually needs to be tied up, but anyway, that can grow there, I don't mind. These are actually some corn from packet corn. Most of the corn I've been growing has actually been from self-save from last year, but it's F1 variety, so it's not sure how it's supposed to grow, in the sense that it's not meant to grow true to type is the supposed issue, but I had a little bit of it yesterday. It wasn't too bad, so I'm not concerned. More, I think they were lettuce, although this one actually almost looks more like a kale, which maybe it is, I'm not sure. Another self-sown potato, and these are the self-saved corn from previous years, well, from last year. They seem to be doing alright, but as you can see with this one, it just needs a bit more development, I think. Oh, actually, yeah, that one might not be too bad, but I think it still needs a bit more yellowing, so I'll leave that one to go. Here, if I get my shadow out of the way, we have the very happily growing butternut pumpkin, or I believe it's butternut squash to those in other parts of the world. But there's actually two plants there, but I think that's actually mostly one doing the main part of growing. So you've got one there, and one growing through there. In amongst that are actually my poor cabbages that were basically just ravaged by the white caterpillar moth. So I may actually have to invest in a fleece or something to put over them if I try and grow them again. And here, that was a nectarine tree. It will probably die, but so be it. But the sadder part, this was my apricot tree that actually did produce apricots this year. Unfortunately, when this large branch came down from this tree here, it turned out that it was actually a bit taller than expected, and it basically landed over the top of here. Fortunately, the red grape there is actually still okay, and I've taken a whole bunch of cuttings from the apricot tree on the hope that maybe they'll take. Again, self-seeded potatoes is my gooseberry bush, which did produce a few little ones when I first got it, but I don't think it's going to produce any more this year, but that's okay. Another self-sown nectarine tree. This one I've transplanted over to here. It's probably not in the best position. It keeps getting whacked by that part of the compost heap. It keeps falling onto it. But anyway, never mind. Again, get out of the way. That's a bit of the mulch left over from the branches that came off this, which was quite useful because it's sort of filled that bed. I'll get back to that in a moment though. Over here, the strawberry plant seems to be coming along all right. There's a few fruits on it. I don't know if they're going to do so well because I'm not very good at getting them enough water, I think it is, because they keep drying out a bit. So I'll have to focus on that. This, I'm not entirely sure what it is. I think I did sprinkle some extra seeds in here. It could be a variety of nightshade, in which case I'll pull it out if I see signs that that's what it is, but I'll let it keep growing for the time being. No surprise, self-sown potato, another strawberry plant. That's actually a capsicum, which may or may not survive. I'm not too fussed because I actually do have one that's doing alright at the moment, which is good. So I have my apple tree from a bought apple tree. I didn't actually show the ones I've got in the front yard. I've got some of the self-saved seed. I'm going to give them a try. I know they're not supposed to go to type, but I'm curious to see what's come out anyway, and I tend to like sour fruit, so if they end up that way, that's fine. There's a cornflower, I believe. That's kind of coming to the end of its life, but that's fine. Nigella behind it. My son's little meerkat garden statue. But this is the big new part, which is the fish pond, made from a bathtub, a cast iron bathtub. Bit of dust there. The fish seem to be hiding a bit at the moment. I think they actually like to hide under the lily pads, and it's been quite windy today, so I think they might be keeping out of sight, as it were, which is alright. I did see them early today, so they do seem to be still okay. I'm hoping they get more of the dragonfly larvae, because there are quite a few in there now, and that was actually the indication that we were ready for fish. And then I went to my local pet store and they actually do a test to show if you got the right balance and things, and fortunately it showed that we did, so it's all good. Again, these are all self-sown. Actually, some of these might be ones that I saved the seed from, but nectarine trees, I believe. And then I can't remember which plant that is. It could be watermelon, otherwise it's probably butternut pumpkin, but looking at the leaves I'd say it's possibly watermelon, really not sure. We've got my raspberry here. There's it's a chilcotin, chilcotin, I'm not sure how to pronounce it, but hopefully that produces at some point. That would be nice. And the greenhouse. Now, there are a few things here. So this is the greenhouse corn. Again, this is from saved seed from last year. It's doing okay. It's clearly not doing as well as the ones outside. I don't think it's a problem with the corn itself. If we come down here, you can see the roots don't actually have much to get into, and that's kind of a recurring theme of my raised beds. Because I put a whole bunch of branches in first with a sort of semi-hugelkultur approach, the soil level obviously drops quite a bit, and I probably should have waited. I'm not good at patience, so I didn't wait. So the soil levels dropped, and I think the issue with these is that they just didn't have enough soil to really feed them enough to get big. So I'll probably pull these out at some point, but the lettuce, on the other hand, is actually looking pretty good. So I'll probably leave it for a while. That's ahead of a pineapple like I have in the front yard. This I planted basically straight into the garden. The one in the front yard is actually from a glass jar that was in water for many months. So that one's doing all right. I'll just come down here because there's another one. Similarly, seems to be actually doing quite well. This is store-bought basil. It's now going to seed, but that's okay. Store-bought parsley. It's doing quite well. My daughter quite likes that, so that's good. The lettuce here, on the other hand, I suspect has suffered from a bit of the heat and such around here, but that's okay, because I've got other lettuce, it's fine. This is a orange tree that I've been growing from seed. This stick here I put in just to sort of give me an indication as to the height of it. Now I can see here that it has actually put on quite a bit since I put it in. And my two apple seeds over here, actually I just noticed, that's the top from where it was, that's actually put on quite a bit of growth. So very happy with that. these are apricot bits of the apricot tree, so even if the main one doesn't survive, I have quite a few in here to have a chance at survival. Again, you can see the level of the soil in here. It's quite low, so I'll probably take the things out of here at some point. I mean, these are obviously sort of dying off, but I quite like just having a bit of greenery in here. But then I have this bed, which, as you can see, oh, a little bug on there. See if you can focus on it. Not so much. Oh, there we go. That's obviously gone to seed now. That's my my broccoli, which never really produced good heads because they all bolted before time, but that's okay. This is the carrot bed. They've been quite small, and that's probably actually the biggest one I've got. So I'm going to pull these all out. Oh, there's another one that's... Oh, actually that one's not too bad. Yeah, there we go. Okay, I'm going to pull all of those out, and I'll actually top this up because, well, it's not going to do much other than that. And we come around here, I have some little seedlings and things in pots. The names don't always necessarily correspond. They correspond with what should be in there and should be growing, and some of the things obviously have been overtaken by other bits and pieces. Excuse the turn there. Propagators I have been loving because, and this one's full of not much at the moment. Actually, there's a bit of mold in there too. Again, that's another part of the apricot tree. Pop that back on. But they make it much easier to determine what you have growing, which has been one of my big sort of failings. As you saw with the lettuce earlier, once they actually get going, there's actually lettuce and mixed salad. These are actually jumping around a bit here. These little labels are from a thing that our local supermarket did, which is they gave away little plant starter kits for kids and things. It was quite cool. So I've put a whole bunch of those in there because I've had them sitting around for ages not doing anything, so I figured I might as well give them a try. But my big success so far, I mean, it may die off, capsicum. And there's actually two in there, but this one's growing quite nicely. I have tried to grow capsicum before with no success. I've maybe had it to this sort of stage before, but what tends to happen is I either don't plant it out or then bugs get to it. So having this one in here in the greenhouse, I think has saved it. So I just got to keep that growing. I will overwinter it if it manages to grow to a point where it can actually produce, and I hope it does, because it'd be really nice, because we like capsicum. Capsicum is what we call in Australia, I think it's sweet pepper, or bell peppers, actually I think is more what it's called elsewhere, but my daughter quite likes them, which is good because she can be a bit of a fussy eater. But that's basically where I'm at the moment, on the 21st of February 2023. I'm now going to, I think, tackle that garden bed and see if I can pull the bits out and top it up with, it's basically just going to be the rotted horse manure, and I'll see if I've got anything to plant into it, and if it goes, it goes. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.